Welcome to the reimagining of Nanatsu no Taizai, otherwise known as Seven Deadly Sins. Today's tributes are the Serpent Sin of Envy, Diane, the Fox Sin of Greed, Ban, and the Bear Sin of Sloth, King, plus a few other special surprises I decided to throw in. So, as always, the downloads for these are on my Ko-Fi, and some extra behind-the-scenes stuff too. Jumping right in, we first have Diane. Okay, her original designs are fine, but they're pretty basic, and they kind of lean into a trope called Born Sexy Yesterday. It's not entirely that, but you can kind of see where some of it comes through, like especially in her chest area, and the fact that like her skirt is so short. So some of those things I've changed. The biggest thing that I've changed is her original armor look is like wildly unnecessary in the anime. So I've decided to armor the only part of her body where you can stab easily. And I've also made it canon now that giants have hardened skin and are like built like actual rocks. So she doesn't really need armor anyways, but safe than sorry as a knight. I kept her tattoo basically the same, so that's fine. Her second outfit, look, it's a trust the process kind of thing. You're gonna have to just wait it out. She looks weird until the end, but I lean more into the cutesy aesthetic and make it a bit more period accurate as her human outfit, because this is gonna be what she wears instead of that weird, it's purple with like the pom-poms. She kind of looks like a snowman. It's a choice. Okay. And then her third outfit is gonna be for when she initially joined Meliodas, even before the sins, in traveling. So Meliodas and Ban were like traveling around for a while, and then eventually they find Diane, and then Diane joins them, so that's her outfit for when she joins them, and then they all kind of travel around with each other for like a couple decades. It's meant to be a bit more darker and kind of like more evil because she was jealous and vindictive back then. That's why she has envy now, is because she's actually an envious person. By the time the show actually starts in this reimagining, she's gonna have completed her character arc. So there'll be like references to like back when she was like a jealous, vindictive bitch. But other than that, you're not really going to see it very much. And that's because there's so many characters in the show that I have to kind of cut down on who gets character arcs. So her story is going to be pretty much the same within the show, other than I'm taking out all the memory BS. Okay, and the last one is a height comparison to Kill Thunder. I made him like about 6 foot. I just think it's super funny because he's stacked on top of himself. Okay, next is Ban. I actually kept his first outfit mostly the same. I just made the pants smaller and ditched the shoes. He's like too tall for like all the outfits he's wearing, and he needs custom stuff to wear. So that's kind of why I made like the pants a bit shorter on him, because they might fit someone who's 6'6", but this man is like over 7 foot. It's ridiculous. He's gonna be pretty much the same as he was in the show. He's the best friend, and he knows Meliodas the best. And I mean, like, Ban has traveled with Meliodas so much that he knows Meliodas is like a demon/dragon. Like, he knows the deep lore, and he just doesn't really say anything because he's a bro. And I also made some backstory changes involving like Elane. After Elane's death, he becomes reclusive and sad because he's now immortal. But he finds Meliodas and slowly realizes that this guy isn't aging, and that's kind of weird. And then he doesn't think about it too hard, and they start traveling together. And then Meliodas eventually opens up. But this is kind of where, like a major split from my characterizations and the anime characterizations. There's like 2 friend groups within the 7 Deadly Sins. So Meliodas' part of the friend group is Meliodas, Ban, and then Diane, and then King end up joining them in traveling. Okay, so his second outfit would be his old traveling outfit when he was with Meliodas before the Sins. And then his third outfit would be his updated designs after the Sins were back together and no longer criminals. I took a couple different inspirations from the show and from medieval times, because I'm still trying to keep that, like, in mind while designing this stuff. And I completely forgot to, like, draw what his mark is gonna be, but I'm fairly certain I'm gonna keep all of the sin marks, tattoo thingies exactly the same. So just assume they're the same if I don't change them. And then I threw in Elane, who is dead, who is very dead. She's dead and she's staying that way. Like, super dead. I hate Elane and Bond's entire personalities in the show because they're only people when they're together. And their only personalities are like, oh my god, I'm in love with Bond, or oh my god, I'm in love with Elane, and that's it. That's their entire motivation, it's their entire character, that's not gonna fly. So, he's gonna be sad about her death, but she is very dead. So the biggest issue I have with King is that his design just doesn't show his character very well. He doesn't really look like a fairy or a king or in the right era, so I'm gonna be fixing some of that. He has pretty humble clothing for the most part, and I'm gonna make that because he's kind of ashamed that he's the king of the fairies. His backstory is that he was actually very complacent in the fact that humans were like hunting down fairies because it was outside of the forest and therefore outside of his domain. So he doesn't particularly involve himself in that because it's not within his reach, essentially. He didn't want to be like overreaching, so he just didn't do anything when his people were hunted down. He does not like being called king. He hates it. But the issue is that Meliodas clocked him instantly as the fairy king, and it kind of caught on too quickly, so Harlequin's just gonna have to suffer. His second outfit is when he becomes far more comfortable with his heritage, and he's made up for all of his inaction and for his sin, essentially. I don't exactly know how he's gonna do that, but it's probably gonna have to do with, like, the reconstruction of the fairy forest. Now we have the bonus, and the bonus is Merlin, which I kind of threw in with King, just because I was having a rough time, and I was low-key bored, and I've kind of lost my steam in doing this, so I just threw her in on a whim. I made her into a crazy bird witch, and that feels like far more characterization than she ever got in the show. She's not really going to be used for exposition in my rewrite, more like cryptic foreshadowing of other people's secrets, because she knows about Meliodas and she knows about pretty much everyone's sins. She's very nosy, but she's also not going to, like, explain things. She's just going to allude to things. Okay, so she's kept pretty much undressed because she's not human. I thought about making her a demon, but I don't really know if that's the vibe yet. And then I made her a more human look, which is a little too modern for my taste, so I might change that. Undecided with this one. I added in the slits to be like a callback to Meliodas' demon design. Just, again, because I don't really know if she's going to be more demon-like, because if that's the case, I'm going to definitely change that to be more aligned with those previous design decisions. Okay, and that should wrap it up. Thank you all if you got this far into the video. My next one will be learning about how to draw backgrounds.